This video is brought to you by Grainger Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country.
The internet has been piling onto the new Land Cruiser harder than the 1999 release of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. But the question is it really that bad?
The movie or the car?
Well, okay, the movie is pretty bad, but the car is pretty awesome. Now, in the truly fantastic podcast, This Car Pod, Doug DeMuro said this about the new Land Cruiser.
The new Land Cruiser obviously is and the people buying them are posers.
Wow, that's pretty harsh, Tommy, but you know, we actually bought this car, so I kind of feel like our skin's in the game.
Now listen, I understand this Land Cruiser is controversial.
Yeah, but according to you all, it's not a Land Cruiser.
And here's why people say that. The Land Cruiser story started way back in the 1950s as essentially a Jeep clone, and that's not an exaggeration. FJ stood for F, the engine code, and J for Jeep.
So really what you're saying, Tommy, is there's no such thing as a real Land Cruiser because they're all just Jeep clones.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but the formula for the Land Cruiser kind of diverted in the 1980s. You had the hairy-chested European, Australian, Asian 70 series, and then the more comfortable, refined 1680 series that we got in the US. And then in the 90s, a new Land Cruiser emerged, a watered-down, lighter-duty version of the Land Cruiser. The Bud Light, the Diet Coke, the Disney remake of Land Cruisers.
Tommy, you mean the 4Runner?
No, I don't mean the 4Runner, I mean the Prado.
Ah.
For years, people have come to understand the Land Cruiser Prado as being less than.
Yeah, you know, the one that can't quite live up to the hype of the Land Cruiser.
So when Toyota relaunched the Land Cruiser a couple of years ago, those in the know were quick to point out, that's not a real Land Cruiser, that's a Kroger brand cruiser. That's a Prado.
But Tommy, would you agree that the manufacturer has a right to call whatever vehicle they want, whatever they want, because it says Land Cruiser right there?
Compared to the outgoing 200 series, this Land Cruiser has gone from a V8 to a 4-cylinder. It's lost 4 entire cylinders, which is a big deal to a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's gained 2 things, a battery and a turbo, which means instant torque.
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of.
This video is brought to you by Grainger Warranties. If you're buying a new Land Cruiser and are planning on keeping it long-term, check out Grainger. Get that peace of mind of knowing that your car is going to be taken care of at the dealership using factory-backed parts and technicians. Click on the link below and check out Grainger Warranties. It went from a 7-seat grand display of luxury to a measly 2-row SUV. And it's got a muffin top. Look at this giant battery bump in the trunk.
All right, hold your horses there, Gungadin. Why does it have an armrest and cup holders in the back?
Well, you're kind of proving my point. In other markets, they do have a 7-seater. That's what those are for. But they didn't even engineer out the cup holders for the US version. But most importantly, to Land Cruiser people, according to the internet, it's lost its reputation for durability. But the big reason the Toyota Land Cruiser is getting so much hate online is because of durability and longevity. So, it's well known that the old 200 series was built to a standard of 250,000 miles and a 25-year service life, whereas the Prado is stuck with just a 150,000 mile service life.
Wait, hold on. According to who?
Well, that is a good point.
Is this something that Akio has said or Toyota?
No, you do bring up a really good point here. It's like it's well understood online that's the case, but I've never actually been able to confirm with any Toyota engineer that is officially the case. Although if someone wants to, send me an email. I'd love to hear it for sure.
So the internet is assuming, and you know what happens when you assume.
Now recently our buddy Ryan over at Driving Sports TV did have a failure in his Land Cruiser where he was going up a really steep rocky hill and the front CVs exploded. But does that mean that this Land Cruiser is not as well built as previous versions?
No, that doesn't mean that. It just means Ryan can't drive off-road.
Okay.
Sorry, dude.
Harsh, Dad.
I'm joking.
Very harsh. No, listen, I think that was a very extreme test. He had upgraded tires, and there's a lot of variables that go into off-road testing, and it's a bummer, definitely a bummer that thing exploded. Sorry about that, dude, but It is anecdotal. Look, we could go on and on and on about longevity and reliability, and our buddy James quite famously says, well, the new Land Cruiser doesn't have the 9.5-inch front diff from the GX, it doesn't have the high CV angles of the GX, but does any of that really matter for the average Land Cruiser buyer?
You know, that's exactly right, Tommy, because as you recall, the 100 series was bulletproof. The front diff was almost, well, I was going to say indestructible, except what happened to ours?
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, here's the thing, right? Longevity is a very, very complicated formula. This thing's been around for a couple of years. There's a bunch of them with well over 100,000 miles. Obviously, that's not going to be enough to convince you, but reliability discussion aside, the fact of the matter is the new Land Cruiser is a much better product to live and drive with than any cruiser that has come in the past, and here's why.
Tommy, we've owned an FJ40, we've owned an 80 series, you know, the Tonka toy one, we own a 100 series, we owned a 200 series that we turned into a TRD Pro, and now we own this new Land Cruiser. In my opinion, the FJ40 is just a copy of a CJ. The 80 series is just kind of a big Tonka toy that I don't fit into. The 100 and 200 series are kind of roly-poly, and you really need to kind of lift them and put bumpers on to make them look good. But this is a good-looking vehicle. Why is that, Tommy?
Well, clearly my dad doesn't value his house windows as much as I do, because clearly there will be a brick through them before you know it with those harsh words said about some legends. But as much as I hate to admit it, I do agree with him to some extent. Especially compared to the 100 and the 200, this is a much more tidy design. It's much more purposeful, and it's a little bit more modular for if you do want to mod it. This thing looks great. Everyone I've talked to thinks, especially in this heritage blue with the white roof, it's the perfect mix of nostalgic, yet modern, luxurious, and yet rugged. It really blends into all sorts of different terrains.
To prove my point, Tommy, all we've done to this Land Cruiser is to put on a smidge bigger tire that's much more off-road worthy and some rock rails, and it's taken a family hauler and made it look like a very capable off-roader.
Now, I'll admit, the engine does sound like a blender full of pebbles, but it is rated at 23 mpg, and in the real world, over the past about 12,000 miles this Land Cruiser has on it, it's averaging low 20s, which is not fantastic, but compared to the oil tanker that was the old 200 series, it's very good. Realistically, that's a 14, 15 mpg vehicle, and realistically, this is a 22 to 24 mpg vehicle. And in case you haven't noticed, gas is pretty expensive right now, $4.50 a gallon, and this is a much more affordable vehicle to run in the long run. And the other thing too, Case points this out, I love that 4.7 and 5.7 that came in the previous cruisers. I mean, you just can't love them for the fact that they never die. But from an actual character standpoint, they sound like literally nothing stock. I have never heard a quieter V8 in my life, and I know cruiser people love that about them, but there's really not a lot of character in a 2UZ FE, for example. Not saying there's a lot of character in this 4-cylinder turbo, but at least it gets really good fuel economy.
Well, hold on here. There's more to it than that. People buy horsepower, they drive torque. And yeah, this has 4 fewer cylinders than the old 200 series, but it's got more torque, and you can feel that.
Now, there's a lot we can talk about the interior, and you know we'll get there, but the most important thing that makes me love driving this Land Cruiser, which is something you can't say about a Sequoia or a Tundra of the modern era, is the visibility. This is one of the last SUVs with truly enormous fishbowl-like windows, and this is such an underrated trait that is so rare in modern cars. Look how low the belt line is relative to something like a Sequoia. The hood is relatively low, the seat is relatively high, and you get this, as Land Rover would call it, command driving position where you feel in charge of the road. You can see exactly what's going around the vehicle, and it just makes it less tiring to drive. It feels like you're engaging with the world rather than separating yourself from the world. I really love the way that this Land Cruiser drives. It is a great combination of comfortable, sturdy, but most importantly, it doesn't feel bloated. And both the 100, but especially the 200, feel like such behemoths, not only on the road, but on the trail.
But you know, Tommy, it's more than that. Like I said, we've owned both the 100 and the 200, and I'm going to use a word about those that you guys are going to hate, but is absolutely true, and that is boring. They're just boring. Perfection is boring. It's kind of the difference between your head and your heart, Tommy. You know, the 100 and 200 series talk to your head, right? This is a car where the financial account in you says, this makes a lot of sense because this is going to go forever. I'm not going to spend a lot of money fixing it, and I can use it for multiple ways, everything from taking the kids to school to off-roading. But your heart says, dude, this thing is just white toast.
Well, so what you're saying is that this one's better because it's worse.
Yeah, in a way, I'm saying that this one's better because it's not perfect. Because, you know, when I first got into this, I didn't love it, and over time, I learned to love it. And I learned to love some of the eccentricities, like the fact that we don't have, and this still bugs me, but I'm okay with it, a disconnectable sway bar.
Well, you would if you bought a 2026 model year.
Yeah, but we didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I think the one thing we're both in agreement is, and sorry, Doug, this vehicle is so much better in every way to drive than the new Sequoia. First of all, it doesn't have an engine that's gonna ricochet into 1,000 pieces. Okay, a little harsh, but the reality is the Sequoia is a very compromised experience, and even the engineer admitted it himself. It's solid axle to save costs, which means you have to have room in the back for the axle to go up and down. Then it's got the hybrid battery, and then it's got a little bit of trunk space, but it feels like it's kind of half-baked when you drive it down the road. It's not particularly well sorted. It certainly doesn't have more storage space in its competition, and it definitely isn't, in my opinion, a suitable replacement to the old Land Cruiser. It's big, heavy, and bloated like the old one, but doesn't feel purposeful in really any way. At least the 200 series was built to be relatively good off-road and also last forever, and that's something you can't say about a Sequoia.
You know, I think you're being a little too harsh on the Sequoia. I like the fact that it's a truck-based car. It's basically a Tundra underneath, but there are some compromises. I think the biggest and most obvious one is the rear seat room is really bad because of the battery. So if you like, you know, your knees and your shoulders, then you're going to spend a lot of time looking at your knees in the back. But otherwise, it's a perfectly fine car. It's just not a Land Cruiser. Tommy, you know that every other comment we get is basically the same. Cars have gotten too expensive.
Yeah.
Can you name me one car that's gotten cheaper?
Yeah.
This is the only car that has actually gotten cheaper. Toyota dropped the price of the Land Cruiser by $25,000. Now let's play a game. The 300 series, the official one that everybody wants, that starts as a Lexus in America at 107 and optioned out there about 120. Now let's pretend that Toyota had slapped the Land Cruiser badge on that vehicle and sold it as a Toyota. How many people would be whinging and how many people would be complaining in the comments that the new Land Cruiser now starts at 107,000 and goes up to 120,000? How many of those cars do you think Toyota would have sold?
7?
And how many do you think they sell annually of these?
Probably more than 7.
40,000.
That's pretty good. No, I think you bring up a really good point, is ultimately, for the first time in recent history, Toyota has made the Land Cruiser accessible. And that's really cool. And yeah, you can, and I'm sure you will, comment, that's not a Land Cruiser, it's a Prado. But ultimately, it's got a Land Cruiser badge on the back, it's got a Toyota badge on the wheels, and it's got that legendary full-time four-wheel drive system underneath. So in my mind, it's a proper Land Cruiser that, I'm just gonna say it, is better to drive than any Land Cruiser that's ever come before it.
Okay, maybe I wouldn't go that far. It's only been out a few years.
Not reliability-wise, but from a driving dynamics experience, I think that it's better than 100, a 280, a 60, an FJ55, and an FJ40.
Let me give you my personal experience. When I first got into this car, this is 2 years ago now, I did not like it. I was of the same opinion that you guys are, that this is not a Land Cruiser. It didn't feel as solid, it didn't feel as substantial, it didn't feel as, well, Land Cruiser-y. But over the last 2 years, my opinion has changed. After owning a 4Runner, after driving a Bronco, after driving a Defender Octa, after driving a Bronco Raptor, this is still one of my favorite cars. And that's because deep down in its bones, in its soul, this is a Land Cruiser. And the people who say otherwise, I would argue, probably don't own one.
Very well put, guys. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Head on over to alltfl.com for some more hot takes, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ciao.